Does it feel like everyone online is becoming that girl? You know, the one who wakes up at 5 a.m., journals every single day, has her life together, is drinking green juice, is having all her protein. It's just been amazing because I feel like that's all I'm seeing. And although it is very inspiring, very motivating, I don't want to be that girl just yet. So what even is that girl? That girl refers to a social media driven lifestyle trend, and it idolizes a super organized, aesthetically pleasing and self-improving version of femininity, which I honestly think all those things individually and together can be incredibly powerful and productive for us to follow. And that's why I do consume that content myself, and that's why I think it is a really positive thing overall. I'm not here to talk down on the That Girl initiative at all, but it includes things like early wake up routines, like working out routines, journaling and to-do lists, clean minimal lifestyle aesthetics, a lot of self-care and mental health emphasis, which is amazing, which is super key for all of our self-development, whether you are in your teens, your 20s, 30s, 40s and beyond. Some of the downsides of it are it does set unrealistic standards, and it can make people who are watching these routines feel a bit inadequate. They don't have their ideal body type or the perfect morning routine, or if they're just not in a place in their life where they are able to achieve even half those things. And I think I've definitely been in that camp where I just feel like, yes, I'm very inspired and very motivated by this, but also it's just not going to happen for me at this point. So where do I go from here, kind of thing? It's actually a little bit ironic because I didn't want to film this video until I got home. I'm currently at my parents' house, and I wanted to have a much more put together background and like a light in the back, and I wanted to just look aesthetically pleasing because I felt like someone's gonna click on a video, they're gonna stay because it looks good, and it seems like I've got myself together. And I'm looking at my notes, right, and I was like, actually the whole purpose of this series is to just go for it and to stop overthinking, to stop over aestheticizing things. Don't get me wrong, I love aesthetics as much as the next person. Probably not as much actually in terms of fashion, but in terms of like home, like at the moment, if you're new here, we're currently self-building our forever dunya home, alhamdulillah. So yeah, I'm definitely focused on like things that look good and things that work well, and like I said, productivity. And I am currently a first-time mum. I have a daughter who's nearly 1.5, and at the moment I'm doing a lot of solo parenting because, like I said, we're building our own house, and Garrett is doing all the financial work for that at the moment, which he is incredible for doing. But it does mean that the time that he has to spend with us is of course going to be limited, and the time that I am spending in the role of parenting is the majority of the time, which I adore. I love my daughter to bits and pieces, but like I have spoken about a little bit on Instagram and here, it is completely life-changing. Your times change, your priorities change, your idea of time and time management, it all just goes out the window because this small human is really dependent on you. And then trying to make time for yourself and trying to balance and maintain things, like it's just, I found it personally very overwhelming. I know I'm not the only one, and I know there's probably a lot of mothers out there who have managed to handle it all, whether that is because they are type A perfectionists who are very organized and don't struggle with like ADHD tendencies, or whether it's because they've got an amazing village, or whether it's because they pay for childcare. No one person can do it all, is what I'm trying to say. There's also a lot of us who struggle to do it, and I'm trying to speak for us, so if you're one of those people, let me know in the comments below. I wanted to talk about 5 things that are helping me with this identity shift, and also trying to be closer to the person I want to be whilst also being realistic with the resources that I have. The first thing is my faith. I have leaned so much more heavily into my faith in my late 20s than I have in my whole life, and now alhamdulillah I'm 30, and I feel like becoming a mum really did also redefine my relationship with faith as well, which I can do a whole different video on. But like keeping faith as an anchor, small consistent ibadas, because obviously your whole timeline has changed, so you don't have the same time to maybe like be as deep and reflective as you did before with faith. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about this, like small consistent acts of worship are so powerful. So that's something that's really helped me. Another thing that's helped me is accepting that sometimes like it just be like that. We are in that season. This is not the season for thriving, and sometimes it is okay to just survive and take it a day at a time, and then eventually it become a week at a time, and then eventually you'll be able to look at a whole month and like plan ahead, and because you've kind of got some sort of routine down. But it's about not rushing that process, and again, being being very graceful to yourself that I am one person, I'm one individual, and I don't have XYZ. I'll just make the most of what I've got, you know? Because online we see hustle culture and we see amazing examples of success all the time, which we would not have seen like even 100 years ago, because we just would not have had that much access to the world. Sometimes seeing that much success and abundance, and you kind of start thinking, well, I am at home all day and I technically, like, I've never had this much free time since, because, you know, like before when I was teaching, you know, there was times where I had to be clocked in and out of work and there was tasks I had to do after work, and now there's no set task per se. However, still have so much to do. It's just not recognised as a paid profession, you know, it is not. And there's so much of a mental load that I had heard people talk about, but I feel like until you experience it, it can be hard to understand the amount of just constantly, right, have I done this? Do I need to, next I need to do that? Has she eaten this today? Have she done that? Have I taken her out enough? Am I doing this? Like, what am I doing to do this? You know, and then suddenly the whole day's gone. I said, overwhelming, super overwhelming. But yeah, like sometimes you just have to accept that some seasons are for thriving and some are for surviving. And it's okay. In the grand scheme of things, this is going to be a very short time in her life and in my life. But right now it feels like it's just taken over and it feels very, very overwhelming. But I try and take a pause and just zoom out a bit and think, right, like already a year and a half's gone and she's so much more independent now already. Not that I want her to be independent, because I absolutely love this stage, but there was a time where I couldn't put her down. Like, she just wanted to be held all the time, whether she was awake or asleep, or whether she was being fed or not. It's all a season at the end of the day. On to a more practical tip. Instead of thinking about like how productive you used to be and how much you used to be able to do, there's a big bee that's just gone past. I think it's important to start actually just setting 1 to 2 priorities a day outside of your motherhood tasks and things. Just set 1 or 2 priorities a day. So it literally could be, today, if you've not gone out for a couple of days, today I am prioritizing going outside, going for a walk, getting some fresh air. Me and my baby deserve to feel the nature and see the world, and it's going to have a big impact on my mental health, and I'm going to get some steps in. So that's one priority. And another priority example could be, yeah, you know what, today I'm going to wash my hair and I'm going to take time, whether that is time where my husband is with baby or time where she's asleep or whatever, but I'm going to take time to blow dry my hair and feel good about myself. Doing these small priorities but daily is just going to help you feel less like you're spiraling and less overwhelmed, and it makes a massive difference. When I started doing this, I didn't feel as out of control anymore, and I started feeling like, okay, like I might have this, I might not have this, but I might be getting so that's a really big tip. Before is letting go of the guilt for not doing it all, because you see this all the time on social media. Like, you see people's routines, and I do find them really inspiring, but sometimes I just feel really debilitated by watching somebody like get up at 5 a.m. and then do those, you know, those time set videos on TikTok that I'm talking about, and then by like 9 a.m. they've done like 10 different things. Meanwhile, what have I done? I've changed 3 nappies, you know, this was when she was a baby, like I've fed her twice, I've changed her clothes twice, and I'm still in my pajamas. There's so much guilt that we have, like what we see online just perpetuates it, which is just not healthy at all, not helpful at all. More than likely, if you're anything like me, you don't have a village, you don't have that support, it's not your fault, but you just have to keep going. You just have to do what's best for you and the little one. So yeah, if the house is a little bit of a mess, or a big bit of a mess, that's okay. You're not supposed to be able to do it all. No one in the past did it all by themselves. So I don't know why we as a generation think that we can, because it's not possible. So let it go. And then the final thing, which I think it really is like a whole different video on its own, is lowering the bar, lowering the expectations linked to the above one, but also creating systems that serve you, that work for you, that are different to what you did before, because your whole life has changed now. It's a whole different ball game, and so you need different systems. You can't keep doing the same things and expecting the same results. And when you become a mum and it's something that, you know, again, you're so appreciative of and you love, but it is a big adjustment, you do need to really understand the different systems that are out there that can help you to start feeling a little bit more in control and a little bit more together, and start, you know, stepping into motherhood with more confidence, which is really tough. Honestly, it's so tough, but it is super possible, because if I can do it, genuinely anyone can do it. If you feel like you're not enough, you're probably doing so much more than you know. So the last thing I'm going to say is, sometimes it helps to write out all the things I've done list, not a to-do list, but Today I did all this, especially in the newborn stage or in the 4th trimester or beyond, when they're still so little and you're still adjusting. If you actually write down all the things that you have done subconsciously without even thinking about it, but you've just done because you know you've got to do it and you know you're doing it to cast your little one, it's pretty impressive, honestly. Like, sometimes I'm like, whoa, I have actually done so much more than I would have done 2 years ago. I sat here feeling bad about how little I've got done, but actually I've done a lot. So, you know, like, celebrate your small wins, celebrate the things that you've managed to do, and just be proud of where you are. At the end of the day, ultimately, like, as a Muslim, you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees every single sacrifice you make. He sees it all, he knows it all, he is aware of how you feel. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, like, the best thing I can recommend is to just try and reconnect to Allah, like, whether that's through zikr, whether that's through like longer salahs or dua and sujood. You know, there's so many things we can do, but speak to Allah about it and ask for ease in this season of your life. I hope this video was a little bit insightful and helpful in some way. If you resonated at all, related at all, then please leave me a comment down below, and I will see you guys next week for another chatty video in this new series of not trying to be that girl, but trying to get it together. Assalamu alaikum.